Well, it's true that we are in a cohabitation situation, which is rather pressurized. There are 6 people within a closed space, but we're all professionals. We have an extremely important objective that is very important not only to our space agencies, but to humanity as a whole. And so we are all motivated to work as well as we can together by avoiding the small things that make complicate life. What we normally do is that whenever something bothers us so that we don't like or something that isn't working, we immediately bring it up. This is one of the things that we do here openly, so as to give the others the ability to understand that something is happening that is not going well and gives us a chance to change it. For me, this is a very important thing.
Ciao, sono
Hello.
del Liceo Scientifico Amedeo Avogadro.
I am Matteo from the Avogadro Scientific Institute. I'd like to ask you how it is that radiation and microgravity can affect the cells of the retina, and how can your coenzymes be affected by your conditions. But yeah, that's a very important and specific question, a precise question, to which I'm not sure if I can respond adequately. I would like to call on experts from the Italian Space Agency. I'm sure there are some that would be able to give you a better answer. But in fact, the entire body, including the retina, is affected by these conditions, which is part of the studies. These damaging effects are part of the studies that we are engaging in here in the space station. You can see behind me there's an echo or a machine for producing echo sonograms. We just recently did an experiment to see the condition of the eggs and whether it works or doesn't work. So in a personal sense, I don't know, but I know that they're doing a lot of research and trying to understand whether these substances are effective in preventing some of these problems. And the results we shall see in the future. Hello. I'm Giuliano from the Filippo Silvestri Institute. When you're up there in the space station and you're looking at the Earth and all of its beauty, can you tell us that there is a means that you can perceive from your vantage point as to how conflict among men on Earth can be resolved? Well, that's a philosophical question, which is very important. Well, we as human beings have this planet, which is the only planet that we have for the time being. The Earth is very powerful. We can do a lot to the Earth. Nothing happens to it, but the problem is that if environmental conditions change, those which enable us to live, we will disappear, and after a few million years, the Earth will return to the way it was. We have to pay attention to work together to maintain this ship that is passing through the universe in order to be able to manage it more effectively and do everything to prevent what you suggested from happening. Hello, I am Ms. Larocco from the Scientific Institute of Rome. I would like to ask you, based on your experience, whether it was easier to train yourself to go into space or to come back to Earth and readapt to life on Earth. Which is more difficult? My experience from the 2 previous missions tells me that I adapt very easily to the absence of weight in orbit, but on the other hand, I repay with that ease when I return to Earth. When the force of gravity grabs a hold of me again, it squashes me, pushes me toward the Earth. And I've got to tell you, the first days after my return to Earth were rather difficult, including the therapy and the work that I do to strengthen my exoskeletal and my eyes. This has been my experience so far. Returning to Earth is harder than going into space. Hello, Paolo. I am from the Einstein Institute. I would like to tell you, ask you, besides the scientific aspects of the mission, are there any other fundamental factors that induce you to leave? Yes, Laura. Certainly the technological and scientific goals and work that we do is very important, but also for me, this is the culmination of a dream, to do what I want to do, to follow my passions. It's also a pleasure, certainly, to speak with you, all of you, to be able to transmit this idea of trying to do things that have been impossible. We're trying to, of course, explore everything that is around us and to do what heretofore has been considered almost impossible, and to be able to bring this experience into everyone's home, into the schools. I am happy to do it, and I'll do it again as soon as I return to Earth in the future. Hello, I'm Emanuela from the Avogadro Scientific Institute. I'd like to know, well, when you distinguish your nighttime from Earth, what benefits will that bring to research in distinguishing nighttime from daytime? It's a very specific question regarding the scope of this is a precursor mission for a mission that will follow later. We're trying to investigate to understand what happens as a result of cosmic rays. We don't know where they come from, where they go. There are many questions to which we have not found answers so far. The telescope is going to be used to make a mapping of the sources of lights on the Earth in order to be able to ensure that when we measure the lights that come from the outside, those that are generated by this external radiation, we'll be able to know exactly whether it is something from Earth or not. This seems a little bit complicated, a little bit bizarre, but it's something that's a very important question, because there's so many questions that still exist that we have not as yet responded to, and this is going to be one of those that's going to be able to bring forward our knowledge, to advance our knowledge. Okay, Paolo, thank you for having given you our time. It flew quickly by. I thank you again. It's always a pleasure to see you, and to see you in good condition. I thank you again for all of the work that you're doing in space for us, but also for humanity as a whole. I'd like to give you a few seconds to give you a chance to greet the again, pass along the greetings of the kids, the students here. Thank you, Germana and Paolo. Please give me my best wishes to President Battistone of the Italian Space Agency, and also greetings to all of you young folks who've been there at the Italian Space Agency. Ask yourselves the questions, be wide awake to the possibilities that exist out there for you so that you can do what you want to do. We shall see again in 20 years when I'll be sitting down in your auditorium of the Italian Space Agency, and you will be out in Mars, I don't know where, and I look forward to contacting you again. That's an appointment for us to keep in 20 years. Bye now.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you to all participants from European Space Agency. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.